Welcome to my presentation. In this presentation, we shall see how to apply multiplication of fractions to real-world situations. So let us take an example here. In here, let us say you have in your home, you have a room, and that room is in a rectangular shape. Okay, so the long side of your room, let us say this side is 20 feet, and the short side, this is the short side, and then let's say this short side is 10.5 feet. We want to find the area of the room. And what do we mean by area? Area means what is the inside space of that room. The inside space can be thought of as the region which is hatched or shaded in this figure here. So if we want to find the area, we're going to multiply the long side times the short side. The long side is 20 feet and the short side is 10.5 feet. So the representation for feet is with a dash like that on top, 20 feet and then 10.5 feet. So this is in the this is like multiplication of fractions, isn't it? So the way we can do that, the way we can solve these types of problems is as follows. We'll write this one as step number 1. We wrote the formula for the area. The formula for area is long side times the short side. And then the long side we substituted the value 20 feet, and the short side we substituted the value 10.5 feet. So as step 2, we're going to write 20 as a fraction. We're going to write 20 divided by 1 as a fraction. We can write a whole number as a fraction, and then we're going to then convert this mixed number into an improper fraction. So we take the number on the side, we take the number in the denominator, multiply to the number on the side, 2 times 10, take the product of that and then add it to the value in the numerator, and then divide that whole expression by the denominator of the fraction. So when we simplify this, we're going to get 20 divided by 1 times, this value is going to be 2 times 10 is 20, 20 plus 1 is 21 divided by 2. Now we are ready to simplify this. When we simplify this, we're going to look for numbers in the numerator and numbers in the denominator which are multiples of one another. 20 is multiples of 2, so therefore 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 10 is 20. So when we put them together, we're going to write this one out as 10 times 21 divided by 1 times 1. So when we multiply the numerator parts, we're going to come up with 210 divided by 1 times 1 is going to be equal to 1, and therefore I can write 1 here. So therefore the answer is going to be equal to 210 square feet. 210 square feet. The area of the room, which has a long side of 20 feet and which has a short side of 10.5 feet, is the area is going to be equal to, this is the area. The area is going to be equal to 210 square feet. The area of your room is 210 square feet. This is a practical application of multiplication of fractions. Let's take another example. Let's look at another example. In this example, let us say you are working at a place and you work for, we'll just write it in short form here, you work for 8 1/3 hours, and you get paid, your pay is $15 per hour. Let us say you get paid $15 an hour. You're working at a place, you work for 8 and 1/3 hours. Your pay range is $15 per hour. How much money did you make working 8 and 1/3 hour? So this is a practical problem. So let us break it down into these different steps. Step number 1. In here, if we worked for 1 hour, we get paid $15. If we work for 8 and 1/3 hour, how much do we get paid? We're going to take $15 and multiply to the number of hours we're going to work, which is 8 and 1/3 hours. 8 and 1/3 hours times $15. This is a multiplication of fractions type of a problem. So we're going to simplify the mixed number into an improper fraction, and the way we do that is as follows. We're going to take the denominator of the fraction, multiply to the number on the side, which is 8, take the product of that, and then add the numerator value to that, which is 1, divide that whole expression by the denominator of the fraction, which is 3. And then we take this whole thing and multiply to 15 over 1. We wrote 15 as we wrote a whole number as a fraction like that. So we simplify this some more. 8 times 3 is 24, plus 1 is 25, divided by 3 times 15 over 1. Now we said if we have numbers in the numerator and numbers in the denominator which are multiples of one another, we can simplify them. So 15 in the numerator is a multiples of the number 3 in the denominator. So 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 5 is 15. So when we simplify this, we can write it out as 25 times 5 in the numerator, and then divided by 1 times 1 in the denominator. So 25 times 5 is equal to 125, and therefore when you worked for 8 and 1/3 hour, and if you are getting paid $15 per hour, the amount of money you're going to make working 8 and 1/3 hour is going to be equal to $125. So this is a very practical situation. We always want to be able to get some additional money when we have some free time, right? So this is how we want to be able to understand the application of multiplication of fractions. So let's take another example. Let's look at another example. This time, I want to write as an example here. The example problem we want to look at is a travel-related one. Let's say if you're traveling at 75 miles per hour. If you're traveling in your car at, let's say, 75 mph, means miles per hour, 75 miles per hour. How much distance did you cover in 3.5 hours? How much distance in 3.5 hours? So this is the question we have. So what do? We can write them out in terms of steps and then see what is given to us and what is it we need to do. In 1 hour, we are traveling 75 miles. That is what is given to us. 75 miles per hour means we are traveling 75 miles in 1 hour's time. In 3.5 hours time, how much distance are we going to cover? We'll find out. So we can cross multiply this as follows. We can write this one as 3.5 hours times 75 miles. When we simplify this is hours, this is divided by 1 hour. and if we were to simplify the units, the hours and hours cancels out, leaving us with miles. In 3.5 hours, we're going to find out how many miles we're going to cover. So to do that, we're going to write the second step. We're going to first convert this mixed number into an improper fraction format. So how do we do that? We take the number in the denominator, which is 2, multiply to the number on the side, which is 3, take the product of that, and then add it to the value of the numerator, which is 1, and then divide that whole expression by the denominator of the fraction, which is 2. And then we take all of this and then multiply to the number, which is 75 over 1, like that. So when we simplify this, this is going to come out as 2 times 3 is 6, 6 plus 1 divided by 2 times 75 divided by 1. So when we simplify this, we're going to come up with 6 plus 1 is 7, 7 divided by 2 times 75 divided by 1. Right? So in here, there is nothing we can simplify. Therefore, we're going to multiply the numerators 7 times 75 divided by 2. We take 75 and multiply by 7. 7 times 5 is 35. 7 times 7 is 49. 49 plus 3 is going to be equal to 52. So 7 times 75 is 525, and then we're going to divide that by 2. So if we want to simplify that some more, when we simplify that, we're going to come up with a value which is equal to 262 and 1/2. So 525 divided by 2 is in an improper fraction format, and when we divide that by 2, or if we want to express the improper fraction into a mixed number format, we can write it out as 262 and 1/2. That is in a mixed number format. So therefore, in 3.5 hours, if we are able to travel 75 miles in 1 hour, in 3.5 hours we traveled 262 and 1/2 miles. I'll write miles here. This is the number of miles we traveled, or we can say we traveled 262.5 miles. So these are practical problems, and these types of things happen to us on a regular basis, and therefore this is a practical application of multiplication of fractions. In my next presentation, we shall see how to perform division of fractions.